I grew up in a Christian home, attending church, Sunday school, vacation Bible school, and Wednesday youth group. I was confirmed in my church in 8th grade, and it wasn't until then that I really started thinking about my faith in God as more of a personal relationship. I continued to stay involved in my church through high school, volunteering with VBS, serving as a youth elder, and still attending youth group and church regularly. And it was during this time that I first surrendered my life to Christ. I felt strong in my faith, although I knew that I had never really gone through a huge trial to test that or confirm that. So coming into college, I knew that I wanted to seek out a Christian community on campus. Crew soon became an escape for me each week in the midst of an emotionally straining and very unhealthy relationship, but I didn't really get involved much beyond going to large group on Thursday nights because I was afraid of creating more conflict in this relationship. I ended up transferring home to UWGB for the beginning of my sophomore year, hoping to stay involved with crew there while also being able to attend my home church. Sorry, I already lost my place. At UWGB, I made a really solid group of friends who, along with my own prayers, helped me get through the end of my relationship. The thing was, these friends weren't believers, and I began to really struggle with showing my faith as I heard some of their views and judgments on other Christians. Although I didn't really turn away from my faith or lose it, I also wasn't outwardly showing it. If I so much as wore a cross necklace, I would wear it under my shirt. I knew it was there, but I also couldn't be judged for something that nobody else could see. It was difficult to know that I didn't feel comfortable sharing every aspect of my life with the people who I considered to be my best friends, even though I knew that this discomfort was just my own fear talking. I was scared to take a stand for my faith and terrified that if I did, my friends would look at me differently. I didn't want to feel that judgment, so instead I hid my faith in the shadows and pretended I was okay with living that way. Luckily, God wasn't going to let me live that way, and He had a plan for me which took me way out of my comfort zone after making a weekend visit to Stevens Point last April. After this visit, I was overcome with this feeling of being at home in Point, and I couldn't stop thinking about how much I specifically missed attending crew and having a solid Christian community. With some encouragement from my parents and a lot of confusion as to why I was feeling called back to the same place I had transferred home from, I began to look into going back to UWSP for my senior year. I prayed a lot over this decision and told God that I just wanted Him to show me what to do. I had been feeling more confused than ever and decided to start reading a book that had been on my list for a while. When I opened it, there was a bookmark with a UWSP URL written on it, and when I contacted the admissions office the next day, everything seemed to be falling into place for me to transfer back to Stevens Point. Even after I had made that decision, it was a really confusing time for me. At GB, I was really involved with our student journal publication, and I was on track to potentially become editor-in-chief by the time I graduated. Despite these opportunities that I had worked towards and had lined up for me, I just knew that I wanted to go where I felt God was calling me. So I decided that when I came back, I wanted to pursue God with even more intention. I wanted to take advantage of any and every opportunity to grow in community and in my personal relationship with the Lord. As I've gotten more involved, it has been so incredible to see how faithfully He's been working in my life and how much this one decision that I surrendered to Him has drastically improved my outlook. At Crew Winter Conference, I prayed to surrender every aspect of my life to Christ instead of just the aspects that I felt comfortable releasing control of, and to rededicate my life to Him. Through all of this, one of the Bible verses that I keep going back to is Romans 10:10, which says, "For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God, and it is by openly declaring your faith that you are saved." This has been a great reminder for me to profess my faith rather than holding it back, and I've really felt this change in my daily conversations, even with the people I might not have felt comfortable talking about faith with before. I'm so blessed to have made friends who are so encouraging of my faith. Even the friends I was once so nervous to talk about my beliefs with have proven to be people who are there for me regardless of our differences, and I've truly felt the Lord working in my life through those friendships as well. Despite this positive change, I was nervous when last semester I began to feel it placed on my heart to apply for summer mission. I felt that my lack of experience in sharing the gospel and talking about my own faith somehow made me less qualified to go on a mission. After praying a lot about this decision, I eventually applied and was accepted to go to Perth, Australia.
Yes!
I'm by no means even close to finished growing in my faith, but I look forward to seeing how going to Perth and surrendering my future to God leads me even closer in my relationship with Him. So if any part of my story resonated with you guys, or you just want to talk, I'll be hanging out in the back after proof.